Okay, welcome to the last video for Pokemon Professor Review. And we've now had Squirtle decide to come take a nap as well as we do our last video on measures of variance. Variance is a statistical measure to look at how spread out your data is. Now there are a lot of different ways that statisticians look for variance or how spread out data is. At this level, heading into Algebra 1, you are going to be looking at 2. So the 2 that we are going to look at are range and interquartile range. Now, I went ahead and kept from our last video this list of our data in order, because in both the range and interquartile range, it's great to have our data in order. Now, for the range, you're looking for the maximum minus the minimum. So the maximum is the largest value. The minimum is the smallest value. In this case, our maximum is 19. Our minimum is 7. So 19 minus 7 is a range of 12, which says that our data ranges through 12 units, whatever those units may be. In this case, there's no context, so we don't know. We just know that our data, all of it, is within 12 units of each other. So now, interquartile range. Interquartile range looks at the middle of your data. How spread out is the middle of your data? So to do that, we need to have something known as the third quartile and the first quartile. Quartiles are just another way of talking about medians. The third quartile is the median of the upper half of your data, and the first quartile is the median of the lower half of your data. So if we think back to the last video, we figured out that our median was right here at 13.5. So that cut our data in half. We have a lower half here and an upper half up here. Now, as we look at this lower half, where is the middle of this lower half? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of data, which means the middle has to be here, between 10 and 12. This is where quartile 1 is going to be found. So if we do 10 plus 12 divided by 2, our first quartile is 11. Up here, we also have 6 pieces of data, so that has to be, again, between the third and fourth piece, which is right here. And since both numbers on each side are exactly the same, we know that quartile 3 is going to be 14. So now, to find the interquartile range, we take 14 minus 11, which is equal to 3. So even though our range is 12, which means all of our data is within 12 units of each other, when we look at the middle of our data, okay, which is the middle half of our data, so half of our data is within 3 units of each other. So it's another way of trying to take a look at how is your data spread out. So our data is spread out a little bit, but it's still clumped kind of close together in the middle, as opposed to a situation where you could have data spread out, but then the middle could also be spread out to show that your data is either clumped at the ends or it's all just spread out across. These are the type of analyses you do when you have these measures of variance. You can begin to describe what your data might look like in a data display. So that concludes our last video for Pokemon Professor Review. Hopefully this takes you through and helped you get through some of those important introductory lessons, concepts that you're going to need to be successful in your Algebra 1 class.